Welcome back to Switch Top. From cozy indie gems to Nintendo's biggest blockbusters, these are the 15 Switch and Switch 2 games critics and players agree are as close to perfect as it gets. Mina the Hollower. You play as Mina, a brilliant inventor mouse who gets called back to the city of Osix after the spark towers powering the whole place suddenly go dark. Turns out, someone's sabotaging things, and it's up to Mina to travel across the island relighting 6 towers while uncovering a much bigger conspiracy. Combat-wise, you pick a starting weapon, whip, hammer, or blades, and you're stuck with it, which forces you to actually master it instead of hoarding everything. The real star, though, is the burrowing mechanic. Mina can dive underground for a couple seconds to dodge attacks, cross gaps, and sneak past danger, and it's woven into basically every screen in clever ways. It's got that Game Boy Color retro look, but with modern polish, tons of side quests, brutal boss fights, and a difficulty slider that actually lets anyone enjoy it. Blueprints is one of those games where I genuinely don't want to tell you too much, because figuring it out yourself is half the magic. You play Simon Jones, a 14-year-old who just inherited his great-uncle's sprawling 45-room mansion, Mount Holly Estate. But there's a catch. To actually claim it, you need to find the mysterious 46th room, one that officially doesn't exist. Here's the twist. The mansion rearranges itself every single day. Every time you open a door, you draft from a random selection of rooms to build out the house, managing limited steps and resources as you go. It's part roguelike, part puzzle box, part mystery novel, and every note, book, and photo you find adds another piece to a story about family secrets and legacy that unfolds completely out of order depending on your run. There's no combat, no jump scares, no time pressure, just pure curiosity pulling you forward. Hades 2 flips the script from the first game. This time, you're playing as Melinoe, princess of the underworld and sister to the original hero, Zagreus. Your mission is to take down Kronos, the titan of time, who's imprisoned your entire family. Structurally, it's the same addictive roguelike loop that made the first game a legend. You fight through room after room of a themed area, grab god-blessed boons that combine into ridiculous build combos, and die a lot. But every death pushes the story forward, instead of feeling like a setback. What's new here is you're not just diving into the underworld anymore. You can also climb upward toward Mount Olympus, giving you 2 completely different directions to explore with their own zones, bosses, and enemies. The characters are just as unforgettable as before. Full voice acting, sharp writing, and genuine emotional weight behind every relationship.
Got to move.
Astral Chain is such an underrated gem, and honestly, one of the most stylish action games on Switch. You're a rookie officer in a special police unit set in a near-future world, being invaded by monsters called chimeras that seep through dimensional rifts. To fight back, you're bonded to a legion, basically a captured chimera on a chain that fights alongside you like a living weapon. The combat is where this game really shines. You're not just controlling your character, you're simultaneously directing your legion to attack, grab enemies, or set up combos, so fights feel like a 2-person tag team even though you're playing solo. Outside of combat, you're also doing actual detective work, investigating crime scenes, interrogating suspects, and piecing together mysteries in a sprawling futuristic city. It's got real emotional stakes too, involving your character's twin sibling and the choices you make throughout the story.
Are you sure it's not just an aberration hidden somewhere? Whatever they are, get out of there now. That is all.
Wait, hey! Don't you hang up on me! Damn!
Mario Kart 8 Deluxe is just endlessly fun, no matter who you're playing with. The core idea is simple. Race as your favorite Nintendo character across dozens of tracks, packed with power-ups, shortcuts, and chaos. But the depth here is what keeps it fresh years later. You've got anti-gravity sections, where your kart drives on walls and ceilings, gliding and underwater racing. And now, with all the added DLC courses, the roster of tracks is genuinely massive, pulling from Mario Kart history plus brand new designs. Every character has their own stats, affecting speed, weight, and handling. And the item system means someone in last place can absolutely still steal the win with one lucky blue shell. It's the game everyone at a party can jump into, regardless of skill level, and the local and online multiplayer make it one of the best social games on the console. Super Mario Galaxy plus Super Mario Galaxy 2. Galaxy sends Mario on a journey across the cosmos to rescue Princess Peach and save the universe, using gravity itself as a gameplay mechanic. You'll be running around tiny spherical planets, flipping upside down, and getting launched between galaxies through starbits and launch stars. Every level feels like its own little puzzle box, built around some clever gravitational trick you haven't seen before. Galaxy 2 takes everything that worked and cranks the creativity even further, introducing Yoshi as a rideable companion with his own abilities and tightening the level design into some of the most inventive platforming Nintendo has ever made. Together, these two games represent Mario at his most imaginative, constantly throwing new ideas at you and never overstaying their welcome. Donkey Kong Bananza. The story kicks off when Void Company steals a stash of golden bananas from Ingot Isle, and DK ends up blasted deep underground during the chaos. Down there, he meets Pauline, a young singer also trying to find her way back to the surface, and together, they chase rumors of the planet Core, said to grant any wish to whoever reaches it. The headline feature here is destruction. Literally everything in this world can be smashed, punched, or torn apart, letting you tunnel and reshape entire environments however you want. Pauline's singing powers DK up with special Bananza transformations that change how he moves and fights entirely. Each layer of the underground world you descend through has its own biome, its own hazards, and its own personality. And the relationship between DK and Pauline genuinely grows into something heartfelt by the end. Cyberpunk 2077 Ultimate Edition. The base game plus the Phantom Liberty expansion, all in your hands. You play as V, a mercenary in the sprawling, neon-soaked metropolis of Night City, chasing a one-of-a-kind implant that ends up merging your mind with the digital ghost of a legendary rocker boy named Johnny Silverhand. From there, it becomes a story about identity, mortality, and what you're willing to do to survive, all wrapped in an open world stuffed with side jobs, gang warfare, and morally messy choices that actually shape how things play out. Combat lets you go full guns blazing, sneak around as a hacker frying enemies' brains remotely, or build a character who just punches people through walls. The customization is deep. Phantom Liberty adds an entire spy thriller storyline, with Keanu Reeves' Johnny still along for the ride. Having this scale of game portable is honestly wild. Metroid Prime Remastered takes one of the most respected games ever made and polishes it up for a new generation without messing with what made it special. You're bounty hunter Samus Aran, investigating a distress signal on the mysterious planet Talon 4, only to discover the planet's been poisoned by a substance called Phazon, and something sinister is behind it. What made the original genius was translating Metroid's exploration-heavy, ability-gated gameplay into first-person without losing that sense of isolation and discovery. And this remaster nails it even harder with sharper visuals and modernized dual-stick controls. You're constantly scanning your environment for lore and clues, finding new suits and weapons that unlock previously inaccessible areas, and slowly piecing together what happened to this planet's ancient civilization. Entirely through environmental storytelling, there's barely any dialogue. The Legend of Zelda Tears of the Kingdom takes the open-world Breath of the Wild built and completely blows it wide open, adding the sky above Hyrule and the depths below it to explore alongside the familiar surface. Link wakes up after a mysterious force corrupts Zelda and drags them both into an ancient underground ruin, setting off a journey to figure out what happened to her and stop whatever's been unleashed. The real game changer here is Link's new abilities. Ultra Hand lets you fuse objects together to build literally anything: vehicles, weapons, contraptions, whatever your imagination can handle. While Fuse lets you combine materials onto weapons and shields to create wild new tools on the fly. Ascend lets you swim straight up through ceilings, and Recall reverses an object's movement through time. Combined, these abilities turn puzzle solving and combat into an open-ended sandbox where there's rarely just one right answer. Xenoblade Chronicles 3 combines the previous two games' worlds into one, and tells an emotionally massive story about 6 soldiers from 2 opposing nations locked in an endless war who band together against the system that's actually controlling both sides. These soldiers are only meant to live 10 years before being sent off, essentially fading away. So the story carries this constant undercurrent of mortality and what it means to actually choose a future instead of following a script written for you. Combat is real-time and party-based, with characters swapping between combat classes that change their entire playstyle, letting you build out strategies around positioning, combo chains, and massive team-up attacks called chain attacks that can turn any fight around. The world itself is enormous, filled with sprawling landscapes to explore, colonies to liberate, and side stories for basically every character that flesh out the world in surprising ways.
I've never used this kind of blade before, but all the techniques I can use with it are flashing before my eyes.
Bring it home! Finish!
Super Mario Odyssey might be the most purely joyful 3D platformer ever made. Bowser's kidnapped Peach again, but this time he's planning an actual wedding. So Mario chases him across a series of wildly different kingdoms aboard his sentient airship hat companion, Cappy. That hat is the whole gimmick, and it's genius. Mario can throw Cappy to possess almost any creature or object in the world, turning a dinosaur, a tank, a bullet bill, even random enemies into playable characters with totally different movement and abilities. Every kingdom feels like its own little sandbox, stuffed with hundreds of power moves to collect, some requiring genuine platforming skill, others hidden behind clever secrets or goofy side activities. The moment-to-moment movement is just satisfying to control on its own. Mario's never felt this fluid and expressive. Pokémon Pokopia is a total surprise. It's Nintendo taking the Pokémon brand into cozy life sim territory. And it actually works beautifully. You play as a Ditto that's transformed to look human, waking up in a desolate, withered world where people and Pokémon used to live together happily, but something went wrong. Your job is slowly rebuilding this land into a thriving little paradise, crafting tools, growing crops, constructing homes, and befriending Pokémon who move in as you make the environment more welcoming. The clever twist is, your Ditto can transform and learn Pokémon moves directly, turning into a Lapras to surf across water, using Rock Smash to break through obstacles, or gliding across gaps like a Dragonite. So exploration and terraforming are directly tied to the creatures you meet. It clearly draws from Animal Crossing and Dragon Quest builders, but wrapping it in Pokémon lore gives it its own charm. The Legend of Zelda: Breath of the Wild. Link wakes up from a 100-year sleep with no memory in a Hyrule that's been ravaged by Calamity Ganon, and from that opening moment, the entire kingdom is yours to explore. No forced order, no invisible walls, just a mountain in the distance you can literally climb to if you want. The Sheikah Slate gives you a small toolkit of abilities: bombs, magnetism, freezing objects in place, and creating ice pillars. But the magic is in how the physics and chemistry systems let those simple tools combine in endless ways, setting grass on fire to create updrafts for your paraglider, or rolling boulders down onto enemies. Weapons break, forcing you to constantly adapt and improvise instead of relying on one favorite. Shrines scattered everywhere offer bite-sized puzzles and combat challenges, while the world itself rewards curiosity at every turn. There's almost always something interesting just past the next hill. Resident Evil Requiem. The story follows Grace Ashcroft, an introverted, easily scared FBI intelligence analyst investigating a bizarre murder at the abandoned Wrenwood Hotel, a location tied directly to her own mother's death years earlier. Alongside her, series legend Leon Kennedy gets pulled into the same nightmare, and the game splits its narrative between the two, Grace dominating the tense, resource-scarce first half, while Leon takes over more action-heavy sequences later on. What's genuinely fresh is the ability to freely switch between first-person and third-person perspectives at will. First-person for that claustrophobic, up-close dread. Third-person when you want a more classic action feel. Grace's sections lean hard into limited ammo, tight inventory space, and enemies that genuinely feel dangerous, while the story digs deep into the series' lore around corrupt corporations and biological horror.
the threats head on, or save her ammo for the next encounter. For Grace, impending doom is always.
And that wraps up our 15 perfect 10s out of 10s on Switch and Switch 2. Whether you're into cozy building, brutal roguelikes, or full-blown survival horror, there's something on this list for you. Let me know your own perfect 10 in the comments, and I'll catch you in the next video. Peace.